everyone, it is Yamina. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to talk about hair because it seems like a lot of MLS and exotical women and other black women have been speaking about hair. I've spoken about hair multiple times, and I just wanted to share something else that I've just been thinking about, and it's just been on my mind. It seems like hair is always a never-ending topic because of how people treat people because of their hair, how people treat people because of how they speak about their own hair, and it's like people have an issue with how people speak about their own hair, which is kind of weird to me. And I feel like because I am older, I don't get offended with how people express themselves about their own hair, and I expect people not to get offended about how I express myself about my hair. But not everybody is like me, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. Not everyone is like me, though. So everyone is not going to react to me the way I react to them for expressing themselves about hair. So let me see. What I was going to say in today's video, I'm going to give a few story times, a compilation of story times. But one thing is that me being a woman who is African American, I'm European American, multi-generationally mixed. I have Louisiana Creole connections on my paternal side, and I still haven't done my identity video. I have Native American ancestors, and even some, like one of my relatives lives with her native relatives. So, and I don't believe I am related to them, but she's related to them and I'm related to her. So my identity has been, I've been able to embrace my identity more fully because of the exotical community, but I've always embraced my hair. So I've mentioned multiple times I have Afro kinky coily curly hair, Afro kinky coily. There we go. I don't know why I always say curly, but my hair, as most people know, all afros are a type of curly coily, and there's some people, like, I don't know if you know Aly Masters. I've shared her on my community tab. She has a beautiful big afro, but she also has curls in her afro. If I wear an afro, I don't have curls in my afro. Like, as soon as I do anything to my afro to make it into an afro, I lose any definition. And it's just fascinating how different afros look different from each other. Like, some people have more defined curls, some people have coils, some people have like straight afros. Like, I consider mine to be like a straight afro, especially when I wear it in an afro and I comb it all the way out. I do not have any defined curls. It's all like coils that are straight, basically. And people forget that we should be able to express ourselves however. So one thing, like, one of the people that I enjoy watching, Ari Says Stuff, she mentioned that it was like self-hating to hate when your hair shrinks. I've never heard that before in my life. There are things that are self-hating that people do, but I feel like in the black community, in the mixed community, that's the only time that people will call you self-hating for not liking something about your hair, not liking something about your face, not liking something about your body, not liking something about your own skin color. Like, they'll call you self-hating for simply expressing yourself about something that is particular to you, even if it's particular to a wider group that you're a part of. You're expressing something that is particular to you that you don't like, and people want to call it self-hating, where we actually see people who are self-hating in the black community, in the mixed community. We see people express self-hating thoughts, and I feel like only the black and mixed community talks about stuff like that, whereas any other community, Native, European American, White American, and Latinos, well, I don't know, Latinos and Asian people, Native American, Indigenous people, and Latinos and Asian people, I feel like I don't hear so much about like them bringing out self-hating points that they're bringing out against people from their own communities. I just feel like I hear it a lot from the black community, the mixed community, and it's possible because I am part of that community, but I never grew up thinking anyone was self-hating, even for the fact that I used to relax my hair. People used to wear braids. I don't know of anyone when I was growing up who wore wigs. The only people that I really knew of wearing wigs were people on television, and I didn't even always know that they were wearing them. And people in plays would wear wigs as well. I would see live plays in my teens when I still lived in New York City, so I knew people wore wigs in some of the plays sometimes, but it wasn't always the case. So I never really associated, like, I hadn't always been perfectly secure in myself, but and I wasn't always like, there were times when I was like jealous of someone's beauty or something, or jealous of someone's hair, but it did not make me hate myself. And I would never express to anyone that they have self-hating tendencies. Even when I hear about people who have bleached, I don't even consider that self-hating, even though I obviously don't think it's self-love. I think it's, it's closer to a form of self-hating when you bleach, but at the same time, it's literally that person's decision. I am not a part of that decision. And even though it's not a choice I would make if I was dark skinned, I am not the voice of anyone else who wants to lighten their skin to feel more comfortable with themselves. So I even wouldn't even say that self-hating, even though people could argue and say that is, a definition of it. But expressing little things about yourself that you want to change, that you do change, that you work on, is not self-hating to me, unless you literally kind of express that. Unless you're like some of the exoticals and MLS people have expressed in videos that they are getting bullied by strangers online who are basically trying to tell them what their identity is, how they look, if they're pretty or not, and picking apart their features, picking apart their ancestry and their DNA and all that stuff, and trying to say that they're not what they are, because they are basically expressing forms of self-hate where they don't feel comfortable enough in themselves that they have to pick on someone else who is not them, who is comfortable with themselves and who is expressing who they are. So I consider that definitely to be a form of self-hate. But when we do things to our hair or to our bodies to feel comfortable with ourselves, I don't consider that to be self-hate. There's body dysmorphia, there are EDs, and that's talking about like eating things, and there are orthorexia. Wait, not orthorexia. There's also a form of like excessive exercise that can be a part of an ED as well. So there's different things that people can do that can express like certain unhealthy things. But when you are able to speak and just say, this is what I don't like and I changed it this way, or this is what I do like and I keep doing it to feel good, like that should be acceptable. And it's unfortunate that people don't, I don't know if it's the younger people or if it's people of all ages, but I am older, so I feel I have come to a point, like I've always been a person who likes diversity, and I've come to a point where I am not going to get bent out of shape when someone expresses how they feel about themselves when it comes to certain things. And I will even encourage them and tell them, oh, you're beautiful, oh, like it's easy to like try something different with your hair, like let's talk about it, like whatever. So I don't feel bent out of shape when someone expresses themselves about things. And I love when people know exactly who they are, because I grew up, if you watch previous videos of mine, not knowing my full identity at all times, and like finally embracing what I found out in 2015, and like really taking it into account since 2024 upon finding the exotical community. So on to hair. Somebody had said, oh, I think she said, like, you're not an exotical. Like, I woke up to a comment like a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. Someone said I'm not an exotical. I'm just a woman with kinky hair. Duh. I already said a million times that I have kinky, coily Afro textured hair. But I do consider myself part of the exotical community because I was accepted. I agree with I enjoy the community. The points that I agree with, I agree with. The points that I don't agree with, I don't agree with, because everyone is their own individual and isn't going to agree with everything said. But I am part of the exotical community, and the exotical community has their own definition. People outside of the exotical community have their definition of who exoticals are. So anyone outside the community telling me or someone else that they're not an exotical, I don't really care, because it's, for me, the community is fun. And if someone wants to take it a little more seriously and be offended be offended because I consider myself to be an exotical, that's your prerogative. But at the same time, like, it's my community and I am part of it, and I consider myself an exotical, and it's just for fun. And I don't know if people who say that are like older than me, younger than me, but I am older. I feel like sometimes people respect me when they find out I'm older. Sometimes people don't respect that. And I'm like, I am old enough to say what I want to say, do what I want to do, and not be concerned about how people think about things about me, especially when I identify who I am to you. Like, accept me or don't accept me. If you don't accept me, I'm not going to worry about it, because I don't have time to argue online with people. But yeah, so I wanted to do a story time that's related to hair, because this is like a little bit of what I want to do. I did a video about this and I had to delete it multiple times, so hopefully this is good and I can upload it. So this video is related to like men and hair. And when I started dating, like, I started dating interracially, and I dated guys and then I dated girls and then I dated both. And I, like, literally always dated interracially, and I've dated a few people of African descent, but most of the people that I've dated were not of African descent. And so that's the case. I always thought that whoever I dated had to like my hair. Most of the time that I was dating, my hair was actually relaxed, so I didn't even have to worry about them liking my natural hair. It was my hair relaxed, straight, and all that. So I didn't even worry about that. But when I started being interested in dating, when I was natural again, I was like, yeah, this person's obviously gonna have to like my hair. My hair is different hair care for some other people, for different people. And so I was concerned about that, but not overly concerned. And I did grow into feeling comfortable with my hair. The only thing that I've always wanted to be different about my hair is that I wanted it to be longer, and it is growing, which I'm very happy about. I've seen the progress over the years doing videos. I've seen the progress, and I'm like, oh my goodness, finally. So that's the only thing. Like, I can have curly, quote unquote, curly hair if I do a braid out, or usually a braid out. Twist outs is less defined curls. But my hair is kinky, coily Afro textured. My goodness. How many times am I going to say it wrong? So I love my hair. Like, I find my hair to be absolutely fascinating, because I did not know that it was so cool. And like, the thing is, in different climates, my hair does different things, and I don't like dealing with it when it's in humidity, because the way I do my hair without a lot of humidity, I cannot do the same things when there's a lot of humidity. And I like that I live in a place that doesn't have a whole lot of humidity all the time, so I take advantage of that a lot, and I enjoy it. And I am just so happy that I have a good relationship with my hair. Speaking of that, Aly Masters, I'll share her on my community tab again. She told us to give our hair names, and I gave my hair a name a few months ago, like sometime earlier this year. My hair's name is Yaz, Y-A-Z, And if you look it up, there's multiple meanings of it. But yeah, my hair's name is Yaz. Aly's hair's name is Tina. So look out for that. There's another lady who names her hair. I had followed her a long time ago, and her hair's name was Freddie, I think. But yeah, my hair's name is Yaz, and I should have named my hair a long time ago, but Tina inspired me to do it more recently, and I did it. And name your hair, fall in love with your hair, and don't worry about it. Like, yeah. And I've said previously that I got jealous of Instagram account that was showing people with afro hair, different kinds of afros. I stopped following that account because it made me feel jealous, and that was like in 2022 or 2023. Now I follow another account that I don't feel jealous of, but so many different kinds of afro textured hair, different types of women. It's just absolutely beautiful. I follow multiple women with multiple different kinds of hair. Some of the women I follow specifically because I like the hair, and then I like their content after the fact. So I don't really experience hair envy. I do admire a lot of hair though. I love hair. As long as it's on someone's head, I love it. If it's off of their head, it's in the shower, it's on the ground, I don't want, if it's on someone's clothing, I don't want anything to do with their hair. But if it's on their head and it's on a video, it's real life, I will be complimenting someone on their hair or whatever. And there's been times when I express that no one's complimented me on my hair, and it's usually when I do braid outs, and I can't get offended. Like, people don't always go out of their way. Like, I actually found out one of my coworkers actually thought my hair looked nice all the time. She just didn't say it. And I was like, oh, that's nice. So some people just don't feel like they always have to say it out loud. And some people may not like my hair. Some people may not think it's special. Hair is fun. Hair is simple. Hair is part of our everyday life. So back on to what I was going to say. So I've dated multiple people. And I was like not super overly concerned about how they thought about my hair until I went natural again. And I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna date a white person, a white guy, like, he has to like my hair. If I date a black guy, he's gonna have to like my hair. But I was like really, really, really not really over concerned about it. I was more concerned about the health of my hair and trying to get it to look the way I wanted it to look, and always appreciated when people complimented me on my hair. So pretty early on, when I got baptized as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I was hanging out with some of my Latino friends from one of the Spanish-speaking congregations locally, and it was mostly women, and it was maybe a guy or two. One of the guys was with his girlfriend. There was another guy who might have been single, and we were all just talking about stuff. We were talking about marriage. We were talking about like how people sometimes forget when it comes to like Christianity and the headship thing, that yes, the man is the head of the household, but that does not mean that he dictates every single thing to his wife about how he wants her to look, because it goes both ways. The man is supposed to listen to his wife when it comes to like how to please her and make her happy, and a wife is supposed to do the same thing towards the husband. And people sometimes forget headship, yes, but being a good partner, a partner who cares about your husband or wife's feelings, about their expectations, about their desires, about their wants, needs, things that they appreciate, don't appreciate, like all of that has to be taken into account. And basically you have to respect your partner, because yes, love, but also both people want to be respected. And people sometimes forget that just because there's headship, it's not a dictatorship. And this conversation, the guy was like, oh, if I want my girlfriend to grow her hair, she has to grow it. And he was looking at me. So we were having this conversation in Spanish and English, and they had to translate for me because I was having a hard time keeping up with it. And the guy was like staring at me while he was kind of sitting behind his girlfriend a little bit with his arm around her. He was staring at me and talking about, yeah, the wife has to listen to the husband about growing her hair if he wants it to grow. And I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm like, my hair does not grow on command. It doesn't even grow when I tell it to grow. So how is it going to grow when a man tells it to grow? And and so I was just like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. And just because a woman has short hair does not mean she's not trying to grow her hair, you know? Because I follow some bald women or women who also keep their hair really short. One lady was actually trying to grow her hair, and I guess she changed her mind because she cut it again, and she's been keeping it cut, and she's a model. And yeah, so I'm like, not every woman who has short hair doesn't want to grow her hair, but not every woman who has short hair does want to grow her hair. And I hope I said that right, because I'm saying the opposite. So people with short hair, some of them want to grow it, some people don't. I've always wanted to grow my hair, so just because my hair is short does not mean I've been keeping it short for the fun of it. So yeah, so he was staring at me, being all weird, and I was like, yeah, it goes both ways. You have to respect your woman, and she has to respect you, and just like let things be as they will be, and talk about things, obviously, but understand that not everything is going to just happen because you want it to. So that was the first conversation that we had about hair, and somebody was kind of like looking at me. Second time, it was a man. He was a coworker of mine. He was a white American coworker. He was married. He was older than me by like 15 or 20 years. And I did not like this man. Like, I didn't like him as a person because he was a flirt. I think he was also a cheater, and I was like not cool with his antics. He made me uncomfortable. And I had put braids in my hair. When I say braids, I'm talking about all those little braids that the black and mixed community put in their hair with extensions. So I put braids in my hair for the first or second time in my life at that time. And they were like this honey brown red color. Kind of similar to Beyonce, but not really. I wasn't even thinking about Beyonce at the time, but there's a point about that. So I had my hair in braids, and it was like I was loving them. I was so happy with them. I did them myself. It took me many hours to do them. And this coworker said to me, unprovoked, we were not talking about anything. We were just both working. He was more than 10 feet away from me, I think. And we were both working. We weren't even facing each other. And he said to me, how come you don't do your hair like Beyonce? And I was like, Beyonce what? Like, what does Beyonce have to do with my hair? Like, she's not my beauty standard. And I said it like that because even though Beyonce is like big to everyone, I don't see anyone as like my beauty standard necessarily. Like, I want to look like myself, the best version of myself, and I never looked to Beyonce as my goals. And the reason why I did that hair color was because my hair is naturally black, and I wanted to try something different. So I did a lighter hair color, and I always do a lighter hair color because it is so much fun to have a lighter hair color every now and then when I do the extended braids in my hair. So when he said that, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's not my beauty standard. Beyonce is Beyonce. I am me, and I want to look like me with braids in my hair. Okay? So I said that to him. The next time a guy spoke to me about my hair, he was also Hispanic, and he usually minded his business. I used to compliment him whenever he got a haircut because he used to keep his hair short, and I was like, cool. And I always complimented him because I just thought it was nice to do. And he was a single father. Me and his little kid got along really well because he knew I liked kids. He would always make sure his kid said hi to me. And so we always got along in that respect. But he was just my coworker. We did not ever hang outside of work. And he was really cool with one of our racist coworkers, unfortunately. And I think both of them thought that I was cute in some kind of way, and I really didn't register that until later. So in spite of being racist, this other guy thought I was cute. He hinted at it multiple times, was racist multiple times, was trying to be covert about it, but he was pretty noticeable. And the Hispanic guy, he was cool with this guy. So I think he said to me on behalf of this guy, like, how come you don't grow your hair or something? Or whatever. And I was like, dude, what does that mean? What do you mean? How do you know I'm not growing my hair? how do you know that I'm not growing my hair? So I was annoyed with him because I was just like, this, why is my hair a part of your conversation that we weren't even having? I don't even know if I probably didn't even compliment him on his hair that day. I was just going to tell him something about work or something stupid, random. And that was what he said to me, unprovoked. And I was just like, you are weird. That is so weird. Like, mind your business about my hair. I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your wife. I never will be. Don't find you interesting, right? So that was weird to me. The fourth and last time that a man said something to me about my hair that I was like literally not expecting, and it wasn't a big deal, but it was annoying to me. Last year, I found out that one of the newer in town African American guys was attracted to me. Like, I found out he actually had a crush on me. I actually knew he had a crush on me because of how he was reacting towards me. And I was like, let me not encourage anything. Let me not be overly nice. Let me try to make sure I have my glasses on so I can see who I'm looking at before I start smiling at people. Because, yeah, I was overly friendly to him one time because he was new in town and I found out he liked to work out and I like to work out. So I was talking to him about gym stuff. And the only reason why I knew he worked out is because he had some of his gym stuff on the bus. So that's the only reason why we even got into that conversation. But as I was realizing that he was not honest about certain things and that he was like doing that kind of like I could tell he had a crush on me. When I realized that, I was like, let me pull back, not show too much of my personality because I am not interested in this man. He was super handsome. I think he was younger than me, but I was also just not interested in him for multiple reasons because I said I don't date. I was just not interested in him. But it was confirmed that he had a crush on me in like late last year, early this year, before the bus driver passed away. That bus driver that passed away told me, oh, someone has a crush on you. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to hear about it, right? So after that happened, I like avoided him more because this bus driver also would be slightly trying to have an argument with me. Like when I asked him not to turn off the lights on the bus in the dark because it was making me uncomfortable. He wanted to argue with me and I was like, okay, let me not be on this guy's bus. But the last time I was on his bus, I was minding my business. I had my hat on. I had my sunglasses on. I didn't have my mask on. And I was like, it's going to be daylight for most of this ride. So I sat near the front of the bus and knew I was going to be getting off the bus soon. And I was actually doing something with my phone. So I was like occupied. But this bus driver, he was like, oh, I like your face, like your complexion, something like that, he said. And I was like, oh, thank you. So that was like the first time not the first time, that was one of the few times he saw me without my mask and I was kind of closer to him physically. So he said that and I was like, thank you. And I was like, didn't want to encourage him because I was, like I said, not interested. And I already knew he had a crush on me by this point because it had been expressed to me by the other bus driver. So then he said to me, how long is your hair? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, why do you care? Like, and I kind of said, like, what do you mean? That's kind of a weird question. It's kind of rude to ask. And the only reason why I consider it to be rude is because I felt like he was trying to put me into some kind of category. But I also don't like when people ask me how long my hair is because, as I've said before, if you are comfortable enough to ask me how long my hair is, most cases you've already seen my hair and you should kind of get an idea of how long my hair is. Because how many other people do you ask how long their hair is, whether they have curly hair or afro textured hair? Like, how many people do you ask? Do you just ask me? Or do you ask every single person who has curly hair or coily hair, or afro texture hair, how long their hair is? So that was my first thing. And my second thing is, if you do not know me well enough and you want to ask me that question, maybe not ask me that question. Because this guy had never seen my hair because we were always in passing. I wear a hat anytime I am outside of my workplace, outside of a building. if I'm shopping on a bus or going somewhere, I usually have a hat and my sunglasses on so people don't see my hair. So I would expect people not to ask me what my hair looks like because most of these people are strangers. If you actually see my hair, like, you should have an idea. And asking me how long my hair is when I've never asked you how long your hair is because I see your hair, and even I wouldn't ask you if I didn't see your hair, is just weird to me. And I don't know if anybody else gets offended, but I don't even get offended. It just throws me off guard because I'm like, where did that come from? Why does that matter? Because if you don't see my hair, you shouldn't ask me. If you do see my hair, you should figure it out without asking me. Yeah. So that's all I want to say. So that's the end of my video. I hope this video made sense. I'm going to listen back to it. Hopefully I can finally post it because I did this video